A cave. There's no history of it. You've ever been in a cave. We discovered mathematics and the alphabet and writing and all of those great things that they have built a foundation on, that they came and got and took back to other countries. We don't know what Africa would be like without the white influence. We don't know what it would be like without the Rockefellers and De Beers and all of them. We don't know what Africa would be.
Them in Vietnam, they call the Champa or the Montagnards. You're going to find African people throughout the Far East. Very dark complexion, very curly hair, wide nose, thick lip. You will also find those with straight hair. You will find those with a more aquiline nose.
Some of the first Buddha statues clearly had African features, classical African features. If you go to Thailand, if you go to Korea, if you go to Vietnam, you will see some of these statues up that has the classical African nose, classical African lips.
Curly hair we see on Buddha statues isn't real hair. It's surprising, right? Those curls on Buddha's head are actually many tiny snails. Wondering how this happened? Let's shed some light on this interesting story about the Buddha head. It's important to mention that Buddhist monks undergo a ritual called Mundan as a pursue enlightenment. In the Tripitaka of Buddhism, there are many guidelines written in the Vinaya Pitaka Granth. Following these guidelines is crucial for achieving enlightenment, as it requires purity of the body, soul and mind. To attain this purity, Buddhist monks shave their heads. This practice was also followed by Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, when he gave up his kingdom and decided to pursue enlightenment. According to Buddhist scriptures, the snails that symbolize the hair on the head of the Buddha statue came to rest on his head during a deep meditation session. One day, Gautam Buddha was meditating under a tree, completely absorbed in his practice. He was so focused that he didn't notice what was happening around him. As the midday sun became very hot, it was directly above Gautama Buddha's bald head. During that critical moment, a snail noticed Gautama Buddha meditating under the scorching sun. Concerned that the heat might disturb his concentration, the snail crawled onto his head to provide shade. One by one, 108 snails followed suit, sacrificing themselves to shield the Buddha from the intense heat. Their noble act is revered in Buddhist scriptures, as they played a role in helping the Buddha achieve enlightenment.
Ethiopia. You have the Kush empires that are simultaneously happening. When Hatshepsut, the great Pharaoh king, although she was a woman, she was a Pharaoh king, sitting on the throne of Kemet. Archaeologists and the anthropologists who are of European descent. And they're talking amongst themselves about what this find is and its importance, the greatness of it. And Richard Pryor is in this temple looking all around. And he begins to say, but all these people are black. He said, look at that guy over there. That guy look like my uncle. And he's just, it's humorous. But what Richard Pryor is actually talking about is that, these are black people in these pyramids, and these are the people that built these pyramids. He said, wait a minute, these people... And then all of a sudden, the camera begins to show the anthropologists of European descent, and they start to nudge each other because they realize, hey, the guy carrying the bags is looking around and he's learning some things in here. So very quietly, you see them backing out of the pyramid, right? And Richard Pryor is still there talking about how great the pyramid is, and then all of a sudden, they show you the door close, and all of a sudden the scene goes black. Which means that was the blackout on the information for black folk to understand their history. This is what Richard Pryor was dropping on us in 1977. This is
which is essentially what they've learned to do. Under the Vatican, they have about 6 to 8 miles of storage space that have all of our artifacts. And the Virgin Mother being black, all of the faces. We have to take apart the layers that are actually constructed in the lie.
During the dark age of Europe was going through a dark age. Africa was thriving. It was the gold capital. Mansa Musa was considered the wealthiest man on the planet at the time. Mansa Musa had a very well-known pilgrimage to Mecca, where he went to Egypt and went to Mecca and went through Egypt, and he gave out so much gold, it threw off the Egyptian economy. In today's terms, Mansa Musa gave away what would be the equivalent of $100 million in gold.
The African was the first race to circumnavigate the entire globe.
All over